Good morning, good morning, everybody. And welcome to Turning Your Passion into Profit Morning Show. How's everybody doing today? I hope you had a wonderful day wherever you are around the globe. You know, this is certainly a beautiful morning to get those things done. You know, those things that you intend to do that, maybe somehow you haven't gotten those things started. You know, today is a perfect day to get those things started. Now, I hope, that you're having a fantastic day. Today is the beginning of the week, a brand new week, y'all, a brand new week. And I hope that you had an exciting weekend because, I certainly did. I took some time out to, do some studies and, do some things. Like I tell y'all, if you're on the right path, you should be enjoying your journey. And I'm certainly enjoying my journey. I'm enjoying everything that's connected to my purpose. And, that's where you need to be. And if you're not there, you should go back and think about, what are you doing wrong? Or where have you strayed off? Or maybe you don't even know what journey that you're supposed to be on, what path that you are designed to walk down. But I'm going to tell you, once you know who you are, you could be unapologetically you. Unapologetically you. Because I'm going to tell you, it's a beautiful journey. A beautiful journey when you know who you are and your purpose. Why you live it, Your existence in this world is not just merely to exist, but to live and live your life to the fullest. Because it's a beautiful thing just to see your uniqueness, your treasures, your gems. Everything about you is so special, it's precious, and it has so much value and bring lots of benefits to your audience. So, with that being said, let me introduce myself. I'm Gertrude J. Chapman, and I teach you how to maximize your potential and stop leaving money on the table. Because so many times, y'all, you leave money on the table. You don't intend to do it. You don't intend to do it. But like I said, maybe you're off focus. Maybe you have strayed off your path. Excuse me. Maybe you don't even know your path. You don't even know. Maybe this is something that you haven't heard before. But whatever, you could get right on your design path and live your life to the fullest. And that's what Turning Your Passion into Profit Morning Show is all about. Teaching you those things, helping you, giving you hope, showing you that you have worth, that you have value, showing you that you have something on the inside of you that could bring much value to your audience. And it doesn't matter if you're an author on your book writing journey or an entrepreneur, whether it's a brick and mortar or a virtual business, it does not matter. You have value and you have worth, and your well should never run dry. Let me say that again. Your well should never run dry. Once you're on your design path, once you're on your design path, but and it takes a lot more when I'm talking about, being on your design path. Because what if there's some things that's inside of you that needs to be fixed? That it's not, really a good place in your life. Maybe there's things that have gone on. Maybe there's things that have happened in your life to cause you to feel a certain type of way or be a certain type of way. And that's something that we're going to address today when I'm going to talk about your key to longevity. Your key to longevity. And I touched on this, I think, on Friday, last week, on Friday, when I talked about the different things that leaders should possess. And this is one of the most important ones. Because if you don't have this particular characteristic, particular quality about your life, it could repel people. No matter if you're walk it on your path or not, no matter what. This is the most important one that everyone should have. And, you know, people have to stop making excuses for why, they're a certain way, or thinking that they cannot change, or thinking that this is the way that it has to be. And that's not true. That's not true at all. Because as long as you have breath in your body, there is a possibility for you to change. There is nothing impossible to you. Nothing. You just have to believe. And you have to make an effort to want to change, to want to, better yourself. You remember, we've been talking about during the duration of this program, from time to time, you have to have a determination. You have to come to the end of yourself, because it's possible for you to change, to, replace those things on the inside of you that you don't maybe like about yourself. Or you think that, well, instead of saying, well, I'm always this way and I'm going to always be this way, stop thinking that. Stop thinking that, that's just the way it's going to be. And there's not any hope for you. But there is hope for you. There is hope for you. You just have to come to the end of yourself and say, enough is enough. Enough is enough. And many times we find ourselves in a position where, we can say enough is enough. But we make excuses why we should continue on down that pathway of, not being so nice. Okay, not being so nice. And today, like I said, I'm going to talk about your key to longevity in anything that you do. Because with this one important key, it could open up many, many doors for you. And it could also cancel out a lot of things that will happen, that are happening, not will happen, that are happening in other people's lives, if you only knew how to use it. And the subtitle to this message today is Use Compassion to Achieve Your Goals. Compassion. That's very, very important. Have compassion. When we're talking about building trust with our audience, when we're talking about that people that know, like, and trust factor, when we're talking about all of those things, sometimes people forget about having compassion. I don't care if you're that author, you're writing books, your message should convey compassion. Compassion. Don't ever try to beat somebody over the head and force things down their throats, because everyone, learns on a different level. And you don't know where people have been. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what their struggle is. So even when your message is something that's hard, you have to always, surround it with that compassion. Help your audience see what they can't see for themselves. Help them to see that there's possibilities for them. Help them to see hope. Help them to see that they don't have to, be struggling with a situation or a problem. No matter if it's a physical thing, no matter if it's a mental thing, no matter if it's a how-to thing, something that's not, physical to them, but maybe it's something that they don't know how to do, they've been struggling with. Make sure that it's, first there's compassion there, that you want to see people win, that you want to see them win. Compassion, having that right spirit about yourself, and that's more than, living your truth. Yes, you can live your truth, but also in your truth, have compassion. Okay? have compassion, because I'm going to talk about different things that this compassion entails. That it entails. Because someone could live their truth and be very mean spirited. And what does that do? Hey, maybe some of you, know what I'm talking about. Maybe some of you have experienced this from people who, were experts in their fields. And maybe you wanted to ask them a question, whether it's online or in person, and, they gave you that, not so nice brush off, or, they acted some sort of way. And instead of, helping you or elevating you to trust them, it kind of repelled you away from them. So anything they tell you from this day forward or from that day forward, you're going to block it. So what good is that? And that even go for those of you who are entrepreneurs. You have to have compassion. That's your key to longevity. Because as an author, as an entrepreneur, okay, as an author or entrepreneur, you have to have compassion. You have to. Because you have a great responsibility. Everyone wants to know the author of that book. Everyone wants to know the creator of that product or that service. They want to know. And if you come across as, being short with them or unkind to them or impatient with them or, arrogant toward them or not wanting to be bothered with them, guess what? Guess what? You're dead in the water. How long do you think that that's going to go on? You might say, well, that's just one person, but it has a domino effect. If you do it one time without correction, guess what? It will continue on. So your key to longevity is compassion, building that trust, especially if you're a leader, okay? And that goes for leaders also. Whatever field that you're in, whatever field that you're in, have compassion. Help your audience come out of being held captive to their unproductive, self-defeating mindset. That's the responsibility. To be able to speak into people's lives. And that even goes as far as church leaders. Okay? Church leaders. How many people do not go to church because of leadership? People say one thing, they preach another thing, but do they live it? It's not our time to judge. We don't judge anybody, but we look at ourselves and see if we have that compassion within our hearts to be able to speak into someone's life in order to help them and remove or notice so they could remove those self-limiting behaviors or self-defeating mindset instead of them putting up barriers. Because there's many people, okay, that have been wounded. And not only in the, in through writing books, the audience, the readers, but also products and services, also in the church world, also in, business. You have to be careful, y'all. Your key to longevity is compassion. Remember that. And, as we get into this, here's a confirmation, not a confirmation, but something that you could repeat after me. I'm an affirmation, okay? I will celebrate others as they are achieving their goals. Let's say that again. I will celebrate others as they are achieving their goals. And that's something, you know, that has that compassion. Instead of you being jealous, instead of you, just treat, well, it's not about me, it's about them. Learn to celebrate other people as they're achieving their goals. It might seem like not very important, but it is very, very important. That's a key to longevity. That's a part of being compassionate. Compassionate. So let's dive into the first talking point. The first talking point. The first talking point is patience. Always be patient with your audience. Remember, you're that expert. Okay? You're that expert. Don't force anything down somebody's throat, because not until they understand it. It has to be understanding to them. Understanding, opening up their eyes. And not their physical eyes, their intellect, their heart. It's a inner thing. You have to learn. The eyes of their understanding have to be enlightened. Okay? So you could talk to you blue, black, and green in the face. And if a person does not have an understanding, well, you just talk. It's just talk. But be patient. Don't ever, be angry with someone because they just not getting it. Maybe that time they're just not getting it because you don't know what's going on in that person's mind. You don't know what they're involved in at the present time. But you as a leader, you as that author or that entrepreneur, learn to be patient with people. Be patient. If it's the right thing, they'll get it. They'll get it. They may even tell you about it. But always be patient. Never force anything down somebody's throat or argue with them. Another one that comes in patience, with patience, is being merciful. Be merciful. Think about yourself. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. Everything didn't come easy to you as far as you understanding, as far as you not, you may have to struggle, maybe not with the same thing, but maybe with something different. But the struggle was a struggle, no matter what. So be patient. And just plant those seeds, whether it's through that message or that product or service that you have created. Give someone, the space to understand what's going on or what that product or that service is going to do for them. Because remember, they can't see it. You have to see it for them. There has to be a connection there. So instead of tearing down the connection that will open their eyes to understand, build it. Have that compassion. Have that listening ear. You have that listening ear. Because where you may be getting angry, where you may be losing patience, it has nothing to do with you. It's something that's going on the inside of them. So always remember to be patient. Be lenient. Okay? Lenient. Because it's a battle that you don't have any idea about. It's not about you, audience. It's about your audience. It's never about you. So don't add to someone else's way of, or someone else's struggle. Don't add extra baggage to what they're going through. Put it that way. by you not having compassion, by you not having patience. Let's move on to the next one. Your key to longevity. We're talking about compassion, being kind, be understanding, you know? And I talked about on Friday about listening. Even if you don't say anything, be that listening ear. There's so many people out here that, there's nobody to listen to them. People just brush them off. Even people in their own homes, okay? Their spouses, their children, their parents or whatever, they just brush them off. So always remember to be understanding. Hear a person out. How many of you have audiences out there, or say you have audiences out there, and you really have not pinpointed those who are asking the questions? They're asking a certain amount of questions or a certain type of questions, put it that way. And instead of coming from your audience viewpoint, you're coming from your own viewpoint. And I'm going to leave that sit right there. Be understanding. Be good-hearted. Always be good-hearted. And that comes with compassion. Don't, like I said, beat up on people. Don't treat them any kind of way. Remember, excuse me, everybody they're not the same. Everyone's unique. You have to see a person for who they are. Look into their eyes. You'll see. Okay? They said what? The eyes are the windows to the soul. Always be good-hearted. Treat people as you want to be treated. And that's another thing right there. That's a statement right there, a loaded statement. How are you being treated? How do you allow people to treat you? Go back and do the first work where I talked about, teaching people how to treat you. If you haven't taught people how to treat you, that's why maybe you think that you could treat people any kind of way and get away with it, but it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So always be good-hearted. Be thoughtful. Okay? Be thoughtful. How do you want people to remember you? Think about that. Give some thought. Just don't do anything according to your emotions. If you're having a bad day, your audience is not supposed to see that. Get it right. Fix it. Okay? Be thoughtful. Be mindful of how you treat others. That's your key to longevity. Your key to longevity. Being thoughtful, being kind, being patient, having that compassion. Here goes, you hear me, right? Let's go to this next talking point, okay? Not jealous. Now, that could be from your point of view, where I'm being your point of view. That could be something that you invoke, okay? You're walking around with this jealous attitude. You're jealous of this one, you're jealous of that one. Or it could be something that you portray, that you inject into your audience. Remember, it's a spiritual thing. It's spiritual, okay? You could try to separate it all you can. But first of all, we are spirits that live in this body, right? And if some of you don't know what I'm talking about, think about it. Okay? Think about it. So, how are you projecting yourself? Because you remember it's an energy. So, if you are operating in a jealous spirit, there's going to be that energy that's going to, I don't care if somebody, you could have that jealous spirit, and it could have somebody way on the other side of the auditorium, and they have a same jealous spirit. And before long, you don't even know each other. You'll connect up like spirits. Okay? Energy. You can feel that negative energy because a jealous spirit has a negative energy. It has a certain arrogance about it. It has a certain repel factor about it. When you have compassion, you're not jealous. When you have compassion, you understand, you know who you are. You are unapologetic about who you are. Once you know who you are and your purpose in life, that eliminates jealousy right there. Jealousy comes when people don't know who they are or their purpose in life. Okay? That's where that comes from. So remember, always remember this. You have to line up and get an understanding of who you are, because you're running your own race on your own time clock. So to come in front of your audience with that jealousy, that's not doing your audience any good, much less you. Okay? It's not doing any good. But it has that competition, okay? That competition attitude. And you know, this, y'all, I love to people watch, okay? This is something I do. And I haven't really, done it to the magnitude that I used to do it. Just sitting on a bench somewhere, a park bench, and just watching people go by. Or maybe I was sitting in a vehicle with my husband while, my son or, kids went into the grocery store, and we were just sitting there just watching people. But you could pretty much tell if you watch people, because again, it's an energy that comes from them. It's not only an energy, it's a continence that they have about themselves. It's all in the stance. It's all in, you can't hide behind, like I always say, you can't put on that mask and think nobody see you, because it's very evident if you pay attention. So there's sometimes that people have this competitive competition, rivalry, jealous spirit about them. And there's a certain way that they hold their bodies. It's a certain way they walk. It's a certain way they talk. It's a certain way they look. Okay? And I'm not talking about, the appearance of that nature. You see through that. Okay? So if that's something that you as a leader are struggling with, you can fix it. You can fix it. You don't have to always be this way. All you have to do is have a made up mind that you came to the end of yourself and say, look, I'm going to fix this. I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be this way. Recognizing. The first thing, you have to recognize your mistakes, okay? Recognize those errors and fix it. There's nothing impossible to you. But your key to longevity is having compassion. Compassion. You don't know all the things that people are struggling with. They're trying to hold it together, y'all. Think about it. Put yourself in other people's shoes for a minute. Okay? Take it from their point of view. Take it from their point of view. You have no idea what their battles are. Sure, they're smiling on the outside. They're trying to hold it together. But deep down inside, they're broken. Deep down inside, they're struggling. Deep down inside, they're crying. Your key to longevity is compassion. Don't forget about being compassionate to others. Changing those bad habits that you may have by being short-tempered, by judging people, by not giving a listening ear, not taking time out. You're so busy. You can't take time out to hear them through. And that's all they need. Just somebody to listen to them. Because we are problem solvers. If you say that you're that entrepreneur, if you say that you're that author, if you say you're that leader, you're a problem solver. What problems are you called to solve? Things just don't happen. People just don't show up in your life. They're there for a reason, for a season. Either they're making a deposit in your life or you're depositing something into their lives. Everything has a purpose. Every day, there's a purpose for our lives. Do you know what it is that you're supposed to do today? Whose life can you make better today? Whose pain points can you help solve? Now, you say you're a leader. You didn't say that you're just sitting back doing nothing. This is what I'm addressing today. I'm addressing authors. I'm addressing entrepreneurs. I'm addressing leaders. You have a great responsibility. You say you're an expert in your field. So what are you doing with what you have? Those gifts, talents, and abilities. What are you doing with them? Are you wasting them by not doing anything? Just are you burying them by not really paying attention to them? Or are you using it to help change the trajectory of someone's life by solving their problem, helping them to see what they can't see for themselves? Whose lives are you changing? Who is listening for your voice? So you have to change some things, okay? You have to change some things. So if you're jealous, you have that competition, it's a rivalry thing, you have to be the best, you have to do this. You could be the best. I'm not saying you can't be the best. Always be the best that you can be in your field, okay? On your design pathway, in your uniqueness. Somebody else, that's their design pathway. So don't get jealous of them because they're walking according to their purpose. I'm just saying. Your key to longevity is compassion. And if you're jealous of people and there's jealousy, rivalry, and competition, there's not compassion there, y'all. I'm sorry to tell you, there is not compassion. Because having compassion is not being jealous. When you're jealous, there's no compassion there. Here's another one. Not arrogant. Compassion is not arrogant. Okay? It doesn't think of itself or act superior to others. It doesn't. If you are arrogant and you look at yourself as better than anybody else, that's not right. It's not right. No one is better than anybody else. No one. Everyone has something to contribute. Everyone is unique and wonderfully made. You be the best that you could be. That's yourself, because you're running your own race on your own time clock. But that doesn't make you better than anyone else. So you can't look down your nose at people and think you're superior to them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. Don't have that arrogance about you, especially leaders, okay? Authors, entrepreneurs, because that will repel people from you. Another one is, in arrogance, people acting like they have the right to something, okay? They have a right to something, and it doesn't matter who they step over. Just pushing people out the way, just lying and cheating and stealing, just doing anything to get what they want. Well, if you have to do those things, maybe you're not on your design pathway. Have you ever thought about that? Because when you line up where you're supposed to be, those things are on, those opportunities are there for you. You don't have to, lie, cheat, and steal, or walk on people and treat them any kind of way to get what you need on your design pathway. All you have to do is line up. Line up. Your key to longevity is compassion, not arrogance, not seeing yourself better than somebody else, looking down on people. Here's another one that falls into this category. Entitlement. You're commanding preferential treatment. And you've seen this, y'all. You have seen this. You have seen this. If you're living according to your truth, you don't have to do those things. You don't have to do those things. Your audience will be attracted to you. They're listening for your voice. So you don't have to do all these external things in order to, for people to notice you. Because remember, everything that you need is on the inside of you. It's the inside that's going to draw people to you. Or it's the inside. The things that you bring in from the outside to the inside will repel people from you. Okay? So you're putting up this facade. You're putting up this facade by commanding these things. And it gets inside of you. And guess what happens? Guess what happens? It's that arrogance, okay? So your audience who wants to know that author. And you're there signing books. They're going to say, too arrogant for me. Y'all been there, y'all. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Or that speaker. How many times you went to shake somebody's hands and they just like brush you off? Or went to ask them a question about their book or their product or service. And because you weren't important, because they're looking at everything as this one's more important, that one, just because somebody has more money doesn't mean that they're more important. It doesn't mean that at all. So make sure that, you don't have that arrogant nature about yourself. You can change. Yes, you can. Always be compassionate. Always, always, always be compassionate, because compassion is a key to longevity. I don't know why people call me at this time, but anyway, let's move to the last talking point. Compassion rejoices in the truth. Okay? It rejoices in the truth because it believes the best of every person. As an author, as an entrepreneur, you want to see people succeed. You want to see your message or your product, your service, bring out the best in people for your audience. You want to see that. Okay? You want to see it rejoices in the truth. You're walking according to your truth. Now your truth is connecting with them. And now it's bringing out that win-win situation. That's what you want to see. You want to see it, to be able to rejoice in the truth, that you were that problem solver, that your message, your product, your services solved the problem for someone that opened up their understanding, the eyes of their understanding, where now they can understand, hey, I don't have to be that way. I don't have to struggle through this. I have the answer. It's giving me a win. Okay? I can avoid this because now it's bringing me understanding. I can avoid this. I don't have to go through this. I can avoid it. So always have compassion, okay? And see the best, okay? You see the best. You have to see it before you see it, or you'll never see it. See, how your solution, and be able to allow your audience to see what they couldn't see in the beginning for themselves. Now they could see it. Now they could understand it. Everything has to line up, y'all. I know I said a lot in here, and you might have to go back, and listen to the replay, because there's a lot in here about compassion, about lining up, seeing hope in others. Okay, that's another one. Seeing hope in others, not throwing them away. Like arrogance would have people thinking they just throw people away. Oh, they're not worth it. They don't have enough money. They're not from my social economic place or lifestyle, so they're not worth my time. No, that can't be. That can't be. Everyone has value. Everyone has worth. As an author, as an entrepreneur, you have a responsibility of speaking into people's lives and changing the way that they live, the way they see things, the way they understand things. Okay? Be responsible for your actions. Be responsible, because it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference, y'all. You have a responsibility not only to change that reader's life or that client or that customer's life, but their family and their friends, those who are around them, and also for generations to come. You have to think about that. Think about that. Endurance. When you rejoice in the truth, it's endurance, okay? And it won't cause your customers or your audience to stumble as they're growing. You know, have that endurance about you where you answer those questions without taking them all around the block and back. You know, there are some people, and I'm going to make this plain, okay? What I mean about this. There are some people that, you know, they could give their audience, and not saying that there's not steps to this, there's not products or services that's created for this, you know, to lead them down a path or whatever, like I'm gonna say funnels or whatever, okay? But there's some things that people create, that people write, that's just a waste of time. It's like siphoning the money out of people, if you know what I mean. And you're understanding this, okay? You're understanding this. But don't cause people to stumble along the way. Set your products, your services, your messages up the correct way. Okay? The correct way. This is how you get a repeat business. This is how you build your business, your products, your services, your brand, okay? By giving them what they're asking for and not leading them down this long stretch. Okay? You have to understand it. We have to start doing things, y'all, in a different way. And this is for everybody. And I'm not saying that I do this because I do not do this, okay? But I've noticed this. I have bought products. I bought services. I've read books. And sometimes I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe people didn't know. Okay? I'm gonna throw it in there. Maybe they didn't know. But once you know not to do something, or once you know that that's not the correct way to do something, don't do it. Once you know better, do better. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Have compassion, because that's the key to longevity. Always put yourself in someone else's shoes. It makes a big difference. A big, big difference. There are people out here right now, and I'm not going to name any names, playing games. Okay? And when I mean playing games with things, you know, and I'm talking about products, services, more or less, is this a service thing? Okay? It's a service thing. And I've been watching it. I've been watching it. And I've seen one person being banned from different platforms over the years. And now they're starting something else. You know, you have to be careful on these internet streets, y'all. Be wise, but don't ever do that to anybody. Whether you're that author, whether you're that entrepreneur, it doesn't matter if it's virtual or, you know, or a mom and pop. It doesn't matter. A brick and mortar, okay? It doesn't matter. But always remember this. Your key to longevity is compassion. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Treat people as you would expect them to treat you. So always be patient. Be kind. Never be jealous of what you see somebody else do and they're winning. Okay? Like I told you, they're winning. Rejoice with them. Be glad for them. Don't be in competition, rivalry, or any of those things. Be glad for them. Okay? Be glad. Don't be arrogant. Don't think of yourself better than anybody else. Always look to help people solve a problem. Okay? Solve a problem. Show up as that expert who's answering the questions that the audience is asking correctly by bringing them value and not stringing them along, as it calls rejoicing in the truth. Okay? Don't string them along, but believe the best in everybody. Don't throw them away. Okay? Believe that they will win, and they will win. So that's my talking points for today's broadcast. And I hope that these nuggets has, caused you to realize that, this is the truth here. My key to longevity is compassion. And I got to do something about my compassion. I got to make sure that I'm lining up, that I'm compassionate, that I'm not making these errors, that I'm, getting rid of those things that need to be, gotten rid of. And I'm embracing those things that I need to embrace in order to be the best version of myself, to bring my audience value and to, help them to have those easy wins. So I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with me on Turning Your Passion into Profit Morning Show. And I look forward to seeing you the next time. But remember this is your time. This is your season. This is your turning point. So have a great rest of your day.